My name is Piper Thatcher. I'm 23 years old, and for 3 years I delivered pizza to a mansion where an old man tipped me exactly $2. Never more, never less. And I thought he was the cheapest customer on my route. The week he died, his lawyer handed me a sealed envelope. Inside was a DNA test, a brass key, and a handwritten note that made me realize those $2 were never about the money. They were about my dad, a man I lost when I was 10, a man this old stranger apparently knew better than Ever understood. What that key opened pulled me into a room full of people who wanted me gone. They called me the pizza girl. They said I didn't belong. They tried to erase me the same way they'd erased my father 25 years ago. They picked the wrong girl. Before I take you inside that room, if family stories like this one speak to you, take a second to like and subscribe, but only if this actually resonates. And tell me in the comments, where are you right now and what time is it? Now, let me bring you back to a cold Saturday evening in March, the first time I knocked on that door. I grew up in Grayfield, Virginia, the kind of town where everybody knows your business, but nobody offers to help carry it. My apartment sat above Rosie's Wash and Fold on 2nd Street. Every morning, the dryer heat rose through the floorboards and filled my room with the smell of someone else's laundry detergent. I paid $450 a month for that luxury. I worked the evening shift at Tony's Pizzeria 5 nights a week, sometimes 6. Tony Russo hired me when I was 17, no questions asked, and I'd been folding boxes and running deliveries ever since. My dad, Owen, died when I was 10. Lung disease, the kind that takes its time so you watch it happen in slow motion. He was a carpenter, built furniture in a rented garage, sold pieces at the weekend market. He wasn't rich. He wasn't famous, but he showed up every single day until his body wouldn't let him. My mom, Jolene, lasted 2 years after that. One Tuesday morning, She said she was going to the store. She didn't come back. I was 12. My grandmother raised me after that. She passed when I was 17. Heart gave out in her sleep, quiet like everything she did. I'm not telling you this so you'll feel sorry for me. I'm telling you because when you lose everyone by 17, you learn one rule fast. No one's coming to save you, so you save yourself. You clock in, you clock out, you make rent, and you don't ask anyone for anything. My dad mentioned once, I was maybe 8 or 9, that he had another family out there somewhere. He said it the way you'd mention the weather. I didn't ask questions. I was a kid. I wish I had that other family. I was about to meet them. The first time I pulled up to 414 West Haven Drive, I thought I had the wrong address. The house sat at the end of a private road. 3 stories, white columns, a lawn so green it looked artificial. I delivered to nice houses before. This wasn't nice. This was a different tax bracket. I rang the bell. The door opened and there stood an old man in a cardigan that had seen better decades. White hair, thin shoulders, reading glasses hanging from a cord around his neck. He looked at me the way you'd look at someone you'd been expecting. "Pepperoni," he said. "Yes, sir. $1,850. He handed me a 20 and a single. Keep the rest. $2,550 on an $1,850 order from a house with a 3-car garage. My coworker Danny laughed when I told him. Old man Ashford, that guy probably counts as napkins. But here's the thing Danny didn't know. The next Saturday, Murray Ashford ordered again. Same pizza, same tip, and he asked Rosa, my manager, for me specifically. He wants the girl from last week. Rosa told me, shrugging his money. So I went in the Saturday after and the one after that. Every week Murray opened that door himself, never sent anyone else. He'd hand me the cash and then he'd pause just a beat. "How's your week been?" he'd ask. "Or you eating enough?" Or just same time next week, sweetheart. Nobody asked me those questions. Not my landlord, not my coworkers, nobody. I didn't realize it then, but Murray Ashford was the only customer in 3 years who ever learned my name. And every Saturday, without fail, he tipped me exactly $2. $3 years of Saturdays. That's roughly 150 deliveries to the same door. Through snowstorms, through August heat that made the pizza box sweat in my hands. Through the evening, I showed up with a bruised wrist from a kitchen burn, and Murray noticed before I did. "Put ice on that when you get home," he'd said, handing me the 20 and the single. Same tip, same quiet attention. Sometimes he talked. Little things, a river where a boy used to fish, a wood shop that smelled like cedar. I figured they were just old man memories. I didn't know he was telling me about my father. Then one Saturday, someone else opened the door. A man in his 50s, pressed shirt, expensive watch, jaw set like a locked gate. He grabbed the pizza box without a word, looked at me like I was a stain on his porch, and shut the door. No tip, no thank you, nothing. I stood there for a few seconds, holding the empty thermal bag. Something felt wrong. The next Saturday, no order came in, or the Saturday after. I called the West Haven number. No answer. I asked Rosa. She set down her clipboard. "Honey, I heard the old man at West Haven passed last week. I'm sorry. I know he was a regular." I sat in the break room for 10 minutes after that, which surprised me because I didn't think I'd earned the right to grieve someone I only knew through a door frame. But Murray Ashford had asked about my week 150 times, and now nobody would. 3 days later, my phone rang. Unknown number. "Miss Thatcher. My name is Harold Fenn. I'm an attorney. Mr. Ashford left something for you. Could you come to my office?" Harold Fenn's office sat above the old hardware store on Main Street. The kind of place with a brass name plate so tarnished you could barely read it. I climbed the narrow stairs in my work sneakers. Pizza sauce still under one fingernail from the afternoon shift. The office smelled like old paper and furniture polish. Harold stood when I walked in. Late 60s salt and pepper hair, a vest that didn't quite fit anymore. He studied my face for a long moment before he said anything. "Please sit down, Miss Thatcher." He slid a sealed envelope across the desk, cream-old heavy paper. On the front, handwritten in careful blue ink for the girl at the door. My hands were steady when I opened it. Inside were 3 things. The first, a single sheet from a certified laboratory. The header read Grand Paternal Relationship Analysis. At the bottom, a number 99.97%. The second, a brass key, small and warm-colored, stamped with the number 7714. The third, a handwritten note on Murray's stationery. 5 words, "I'm sorry. You have his eyes." I looked up at Harold. "His eyes? Whose eyes?" Harold folded his hands on the desk. "Your father's, Owen Ashford." The room didn't spin. Nothing dramatic happened. I just sat there holding a DNA result that told me the old man who tipped me $2 every Saturday for 3 years was my grandfather. Owen Ashford was Murray's second son, Harold said quietly. He left this family 25 years ago, or rather he was pushed out. Murray spent the last years of his life trying to undo that. I looked at the brass key in my palm, number 7714, and this, that Harold said, is what he couldn't say in person. Harold told me the story in pieces like pulling splinters from old wood. 25 years ago, Owen Ashford, my father, refused to join his older brother Garrett's real estate business. He wanted to build furniture. Garrett called it a waste. When Owen didn't fold, Garrett spent months convincing Murray that Owen was unstable, irresponsible, headed nowhere. Murray, tired, trusting the wrong son, eventually stopped reaching out. Owen wrote letters, 14 of them over 15 years. Everyone was mailed to 414 West Haven Drive. Murray never received a single one. Garrett intercepted them, kept them in a locked drawer in his study. My father died at 38, believing his own father had abandoned him. 5 years ago, Murray was rearranging furniture in Garrett's study while Garrett was away. He found the drawer. He found the letters, 14 envelopes still sealed. "That's the day Murray called me," Harold said. "And that's the day he started planning." But by then, Garrett controlled Murray's phone, his appointments, his visitors. Murray's health was declining, not his mind, but his body. Garrett used that dependency like a leash. Murray found one gap, one thing Garrett never monitored: pizza delivery every Saturday. 6:15. Harold leaned forward. "Murray has a second will. It supersedes the one Garrett knows about. But for me to execute it properly, you need to be present at the reading this Friday." I pressed the brass key into my palm until the teeth left marks. What if I don't go? Then Garrett inherits everything, and the truth about Owen stays buried. I thought about my father, He died thinking he'd been thrown away. If I walked away, his story ended with that lie. When's the reading? Friday, 10:00 a.m. Harold paused. And Piper, wear whatever you want. You don't owe them a costume. I need to pause here for a second. When Harold handed me that envelope, my hands didn't shake because of money. They shook because that was the first time in 13 years that someone told me my father had existed in their life, that he'd mattered to someone besides me. If you've ever lost someone and then discovered a truth about them when it was already too late, type "too late" in the comments. I need to know I'm not the only one carrying that. And if you're listening to this late at night, I get it. Stories like this are better in the quiet. Now back to what happened next, because Garrett Ashford had no idea I was coming. Harold suggested I visit the house the day before the reading, sign some preliminary paperwork, see the property listed in the will. I drove out to West Haven in my 10-year-old Honda, still wearing my flannel and jeans because that's what I own. The house looked the same. White columns, green lawn, except this time there was no Murray at the door. Garrett opened it. He was the same man who'd grabbed the pizza box weeks earlier. 50s thick-necked silver cufflinks catching the light. He looked at me for 2 seconds, then recognition hit. You're the pizza girl. I'm here about Mr. Ashford's estate. He almost laughed. The estate? Sweetheart, I think you've got the wrong house. Harold Fenn asked me to come. The laugh died. Harold's name landed like a stone in still water. Garrett's eyes narrowed. He knew what Harold meant. I don't know what Harold told you, but there's nothing here for you. This is a family matter, I understand. Then you understand you should leave. I didn't move. I was asked to be here. I'll be here. He stepped onto the porch, closing the door behind him, lowered his voice. Listen carefully. If you show up tomorrow making claims on my father's estate, my attorney will file fraud charges by Monday, and I know Tony Russo, your boss. One phone call, and you won't be delivering anything. Behind him, the door cracked open. A woman appeared. Early 50s, blonde, pearl earrings, the kind of posture that comes from decades of looking down at people. She looked me up and down, sneakers, flannel, ponytail, and said to Garrett, just loud enough for me to hear, Garrett, please tell me this is a joke. That was Vivian Ashford. And no, she wasn't joking either. Vivian disappeared back inside, but her voice carried through the crack in the door, sharp, clipped, talking to someone on the phone. Garrett stayed on the porch. He pulled the door shut behind him and crossed his arms, the casual posture of a man who was used to making people smaller. I'll be blunt, he said. My father was 81 years old. His mind wasn't what it used to be. And people, young people especially, see an old man in a big house and they see an opening. I didn't come here for an opening. Then what did you come here for? I looked at him, straight at him. Did you know my father? He went still just for a second. Then the mask slid back on. I don't have a brother. That sentence present tense. Not I had a brother who passed away. Not even we lost touch, just I don't have a brother, like Owen never existed. I felt the brass key in my jacket pocket, warm against my fingers. You can threaten my job, I said. You can threaten a lawsuit, but you're the one who should be worried about what comes out of that reading room tomorrow, not me. I didn't plan that. It just came out and I could see it land. The way his jaw tightened, the way his hand moved toward the door handle like he needed something solid to hold. Tomorrow at 10, I said, I'll be there. I turned and walked back to my car. I didn't look back, but I felt his eyes on me the whole way down that driveway. My hands didn't start shacking gun till I was past the gate. I sat on my bed that night with the brass key on the nightstand and the only photo I have of my dad propped against the lamp. In it. He's smiling, holding up a wooden picture frame he'd made, hand-carved edges, his initials burned into the back. I was 5 in that photo. I don't remember the day, but I remember the smell of sawdust. I called Rosa. She listened without interrupting, which is something Rosa does better than anyone I know. Piper, she said when I finished, that old man ordered pizza every Saturday for 3 years. Same time, same pizza, same request, always you. He never let anyone else deliver. You tell me that's a coincidence. I don't know what it is. I do. That man wanted to see his granddaughter, and he found the only way he could. I hung up and sat in the quiet. The dryer downstairs hummed through the floor. My father died believing his own dad had thrown him away. He spent 15 years writing letters to a man who never answered, not because he didn't want to, but because someone made sure those letters never arrived. And now that someone was sitting in the house my grandfather built, wearing cufflinks and threatening to fire me from a pizza shop. If I walked away, Owen Thatcher's story ended the way Garrett wrote it. The son who wasn't good enough, who disappeared, who nobody missed. I picked up the brass key, turned it over in my fingers. Number 7714. My father built things out of wood. Maybe I could build something out of this. Friday morning, 9:47 a.m. I stood in front of Harold Fenn's office wearing my cleanest flannel, the one without pizza stains, and I walked in. Harold was already in his office when I arrived. He had coffee waiting, 2 cups, one black, one with cream. He remembered from our first meeting. Small thing, but I noticed before they get here, he said. There's something else you should know. He opened a file on his desk and placed a photograph in front of me. It showed a stack of envelopes, 14 of them, cream-colored, hand-dressed, each one stamped and postmarked, all sealed, none of them opened. Owen sent these to your grandfather over 15 years, Harold said. Murray found them in a locked drawer in Garrett's study. Every one of them intercepted before Murray could see them. I picked up the photo. I could see my father's handwriting on the top envelope, the same slanted print he used when he'd write my name on birthday cards. Murray found them 5 years ago during a day when Garrett was in Richmond on business. He called me that same afternoon. Harold paused. That was the day everything changed for him. Did he read them? Every single one. Then he sealed them back up and put them somewhere Garrett would never think to look. Harold tapped the file. There in the safe deposit box, box 7714, along with everything else Murray set aside for you. 14 letters, 15 years of my father reaching out, and every attempt stopped by a man who sat one room away, pretending his brother didn't exist. I set the photo down. My throat was tight, but my voice was steady. Does Garrett know Murray found them? He doesn't know what Murray found, and he certainly doesn't know about this meeting. Harold checked his watch. They'll be here in 20 minutes. Are you ready? No, but I'm staying. Harold refilled his coffee. Then he set one more document in front of me. This isn't part of the will, he said carefully, but you should know it exists. It was a bank record, a mortgage lien on a property listed in Murray's name, a rental house on the east side of Grayfield. The borrower was Garrett Ashford, the amount $380,000. Garrett took out this loan using Murray's property as collateral. Harold said the authorization signature was Murray's, except Murray never signed it. I had a handwriting analyst compare it to Murray's known signatures. It's a forgery. I stared at the number, $3,180,000. My annual rent was $5,400. Garrett had borrowed 70 years of my rent against a house his father owned. Why are you telling me this? Because if Garrett challenges the will, and he will try, a full probate audit would uncover this loan. Forging a power of attorney to encumber an elderly person's property is a felony in Virginia, elder financial abuse. So he can't fight the will without exposing himself. Harold nodded. That's not a weapon, Piper, it's just the truth. But it's a truth Garrett very much wants to keep buried. I pushed the document back across the desk. I'm not here to destroy anyone. I just want what Murray left me. I know, Harold said, but Garrett doesn't operate that way. He escalates, and when he does, this is the ground he's standing on. Through the window, I heard car doors slam in the parking lot below. 2, then 3. Harold straightened his vest. They're here. I wrapped my fingers around the brass key in my pocket and faced the door. The conference room was small, a long oak table, 6 leather chairs, a window overlooking Main Street. Harold's paralegal had set out water glasses and a notary stamp. Garrett walked in first. He wore a charcoal suit and a tie that probably cost more than my weekly groceries. Vivan followed, cream blouse, diamond studs, that same posture, like the room owed her an apology for being too small. Behind them, Bradley Ashford, their son, 28, built like a former lacrosse player who'd gone soft. He leaned against the wall and scrolled his phone like this was a DMV appointment. Two more people, a woman with a laptop, the family's accountant, Helen Marsh, and a man Harold introduced as Daniel Reeves, a notary public. Then I walked in. Bradley looked up from his phone. His eyebrows went up. "Wait, is that the pizza girl?" Vivian's mouth twitched, the tiniest flicker of a smile. Garrett turned to Harold. His voice was controlled, but the vein at his temple wasn't. "Harold, what is this? Who authorized this person to be in the room?" Harold pulled out a chair at the far end of the table. "Murray did." "Please sit down, Garrett." I sat. The only sound was the chair scraping the floor. I folded my hands on the table. Work-roughened hands. A small burn scar on my left wrist from a pizza oven. Nails cut short. Across from me, Vivian's manicure caught the overhead light. I was flannel in a room full of suits, sneakers on wool carpet, and every single person at that table knew I didn't belong there, except Harold. And except the man who'd ordered me there from beyond the grave. Harold opened his briefcase and removed a folder. He placed it flat on Thedable, adjusted his glasses, and began. "We are here for the reading of the last will and testament of Murray James Ashford, deceased. Present are Garrett Ashford, Vivian Ashford, Bradley Ashford, Helen Marsh representing the family's financial records, and Daniel Reeves serving as notary public." He glanced at me. "Also present is Piper Thatcher at the express written request of the deceased." Garrett's jaw flexed. Vivan touched his arm, a practiced gesture. "Settle. Not yet." Harold read the first document, the original will drafted 6 years ago. It was straightforward. 60% of the estate to Garrett, 20% to a charitable trust, 20% reserved for estate expenses and taxes. No other beneficiaries named. Garrett leaned back in his chair. The tension drained from his shoulders like air leaving a tire. He looked at Vivan. She squeezed his hand. Bradley pocketed his phone and turned to me. He didn't bother lowering his voice. "Guess you came all this way for nothing, pizza girl." Helen Marsh kept her eyes on her laptop. Daniel Reeves clicked his pen once Anne set it down. Vivan pivoted toward Harold, wearing the kind of smile that passes for warmth if you've never seen the real thing. "Harold, thank you for your diligence. Now would you kindly see this young lady out? I'm sure she has a shift to get to." Harold didn't look up. He set the first document aside. Then he reached into his briefcase and pulled out a second folder, thicker, sealed with a wax stamp. He placed it on the table. "There is a second document." The room changed. I could feel it in the air. The Wasolence has a temperature. Garrett was on his feet before Harold could break the seal. "There is no second document." His voice filled the room. "I was with my father every single day for the last 5 years. I would have known." Harold looked up over his glasses. His tone didn't change. He could have been reading a weather report. "You controlled his phone, Garrett. His visitor schedule, his correspondence." Harold broke the wax seal with his thumbnail. "You would not have known about a meeting that took place when you were in Richmond for 3 days in October 2 years ago." Garrett's face lost a shade of color. Vivan's hand left his arm. "This is absurd." Vivian said, "You're risking your license, Harold. This girl could have fabricated." "Mrs. Ashford," Harold interrupted. "This document was notarized by 2 independent witnesses certified by my office and filed with the Grayfield County Clerk. It supersedes the prior will in accordance with Virginia probate statute." Bradley stepped off the wall. He pointed at me. "This is a scam. She probably cooked this whole thing up. She's nobody." I'd been quiet for 12 minutes. I looked at Bradley. "Really?" Looked at him. "I delivered pizza to your grandfather every Saturday for 3 years. I said he knew my name. He asked me how my week was. He noticed when I burned my wrist." I paused. "Did you even know his favorite topping?" Bradley opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Helen Marsh's fingers stopped over her keyboard. Daniel Reeves picked his pen back up. Garrett sat down slowly like the chair might not hold him. "Read it," he said to Harold. "Let's see what kind of fantasy my father dreamed up." Harold opened the folder. Before Harold could begin, Vivan stood. She walked around the table toward me slowly, deliberately, and stopped 2 feet from my chair. Her perfume was expensive. Her voice was worse. "Let me explain something to you, sweetheart." The word landed like a slap wearing lipstick. Murray was 81 years old. Toward the end, he couldn't remember where he put his reading glasses. And people like you, people who carry food to other people's doors for a living. You see a confused old man in a big house, and you see a payday. She tilted her head almost kind. Your father was a failure who walked away from this family because he couldn't cut it. He lived in rentals, worked with his hands, and died with nothing. And now his daughter shows up with a manila envelope and a sob story. She smiled. Honey, that's not inheritance, that's a hustle. Bradla nodded from the wall. Garrett watched but didn't stop her. Helen Marsh stared at her laptop screen like it was the most fascinating spreadsheet she'd ever seen. I sat still, the brass key pressed into my thigh through my pocket, and I thought, this is what my dad heard, this exact tone, this exact family. He wasn't good enough. He walked away. He was nothing. They'd erased him once. They were trying to erase me. I looked at Vivian. Are you done? Her smile faltered. Excuse me, I asked if you're done because the lawyer isn't. For a half second, something shifted in her expression. Surprise, maybe, or the unsettling realization that the pizza girl wasn't crying. Harold cleared his throat. If there are no further interruptions, he said, I'll proceed. I know what Vivian said about my father isn't true. He didn't walk away. He was pushed out. And he spent 15 years writing letters trying to come back. If you're listening right now and someone in your family wants to find you by a story they made up about you, you don't have to type anything. Just hit like. I'll know what it means. Now, Harold is about to read the real will, and I promise you, Garrett wasn't ready for what was in it. Harold placed the second document flat on the table and began reading. I, Murray James Ashford, being of sound mind and acting of my own free will, do hereby revoke all prior wills and codicils. Garrett closed his eyes. Harold continued. The new will divided Murray's estate into 3 parts. First, the house at 27 Elm Street, a 2-bedroom cottage with a wood shop in the back, the house where Owen Ashford grew up, was left to me, Piper Thatcher, along with safe deposit box number 7714 at First National Bank of Grayfield. Second, an education trust of $120,000 established in my name, specifically designated for vocational or academic training. Third, the remaining liquid assets were directed into a charitable education fund. The name Murray chose for the fund, the Owen Ashford Memorial Scholarship. Garrett's son was named Owen. The fund was named after his brother, the son he'd erased. The West Haven mansion remained with Garrett, but with a condition. Garrett was required to repay $380,000 in mortgage debt he'd taken against Murray's rental property within 12 months. Failure to repay would trigger a forced sale. Helen Marsh's typing stopped. She looked at Garrett, then at the document, then back at Garrett. Harold set down the will and placed one more item on the table. The DNA test certificate showing a 99.97% probability of grand paternal relationship between Murray Ashford and Piper Thatcher. The biological samples were collected and analyzed by an independent AAB-accredited laboratory, Harold said under authorization granted by Mr. Ashford himself. The room was silent. Garrett stared at the DNA result as though it were written in a language he refused to learn. Vivan hadn't moved. Garrett shoved his chair back. My father did not write this. You manipulated a sick old man into Garrett. Harold's voice was quiet, but it carried. He opened a separate file and laid out a series of photographs. Each one showed a sealed envelope, cream-colored, with a handwritten address and a postmark. 14 envelopes, 15 years of postmarks. These are the letters Owen sent to Murray, Harold said. Everyone was mailed to the West Haven address. Murray found them in a locked drawer in your study, Garrett, unopened. You kept them for 15 years. Helen Marsh turned her screen slightly away from Garrett, as if instinctively creating distance. Daniel Reeves set his pen down. Vivan stepped forward. Those could be fabricated. The postmarks are verified by USPS records, Harold said without raising his voice. The handwriting matches Owen's signature on his birth certificate, which is on file with the state. Garrett sat motionless. His hand gripped the armrest, knuckles white, but his mouth said nothing. For the first time since I'd entered the room, he had no answer. I didn't plan what I said next. It just came. My dad died when I was 10. He died believing his father had abandoned him. He spent 15 years writing letters and never got a single answer. My voice didn't break. I didn't let it. He didn't know those letters were sitting in your drawer. He died alone, thinking no one in this family wanted him. Garrett looked at me for 1 second. Something crossed his face that might have been recognition. Then it was gone. Helen Marsh quietly closed her laptop. Whatever she'd been tracking for the Ashfords, she was done. Bradley moved first. He pushed off the wall and came toward me fast enough that Daniel Reeves stood up. "This is complete crap," Bradley said. His face was red, his voice cracking at the edges. "You're not taking a single thing from this family." I stood. Not because he scared me, because I don't have conversations sitting down while someone stands over me. I learned that a long time ago. We were 3 FT apart. He was taller, wider. His hands were baldled at his sides. "Your grandfather ordered pizza every Saturday for 3 years just to see me," I said. "That's not a scam, Bradley. That's the only honest thing in this room." "Harold." Garrett's voice came from behind his son, strained and low. "If this charade continues, I will contest every word of it." Harold didn't flinch. "That is your right, Garrett, but I should inform you that contesting will require a complete probate audit of Murray's entire estate." He paused just long enough, including any unauthorized liens, mortgages, or encumbrances placed on his properties. The room held its breath. Garrett understood. I watched it hit him. The slow, terrible math. If he contested the will, the audit would expose the forged power of attorney, the $380,000 loan. In Virginia, that's elder financial abuse, a felony. He couldn't fight the will without destroying himself. Bradley looked at his father, waiting for the signal to keep pushing. The signal didn't come. "Sit down, Bradley," Garrett said. "Quiet now," emptied out. Bradley sat. Daniel Reeves picked up his pen and made a note. Helen Marsh opened her laptop again, but this time she was typing something different. Harold looked at me. "Shall we proceed to signatures?" I signed the documents in blue ink, the same color Murray used on my envelope. Daniel Reeves notarized each page with a quiet stamp. The sound echoed in the small room like a period at the end of a very long sentence. When it was done, I turned to Harold. "I'm accepting the Elm Street house, the education trust, and the safe deposit box. That's what Murray wanted me to have. I'm not making any additional claims." Harold nodded. Then I looked at Garrett. He was sitting very still, staring at a fixed point on the wall behind me. "I'm not going to sue you," I said. "I'm not going to call the police about those letters. Whatever you did, that's between you and whatever you tell yourself when the house is quiet." Vivian shifted in her chair. Bradley's jaw was clenched so tight I could see the muscle jumping. "But I am going to take that key," I said. "Walk into First National Bank, open that box, and read every letter my father wrote to a man who loved him and couldn't reach him." I held Garrett's gaze, and I'm going to do that alone. Garrett said nothing. I stood, pushed in my chair, and extended my hand to Harold. He shook it, a firm grip, steady. I nodded to Daniel Reeves, who nodded back. Helen Marsh met my eyes briefly and gave me something that was almost a nod of respect. I walked to the door. Behind me, I heard Vivian's chair scrape the floor. I was halfway down the hallway when her heels clicked behind me. I knew she was coming. I also knew this wouldn't be an apology. She didn't disappoint. "Piper, wait," I stopped, turned around. Vivian's face had changed. The southern charm was gone. What was left was something raw. Not guilt exactly, but the particular panic of someone who just realized the floor is falling. "Listen," she said, lowering her voice. "Garrett made mistakes. I know that. We both know that. But if that loan becomes public, the mortgage, the authorization issue, it'll destroy us. The business, the house, everything we've built. That's not my problem, Mrs. Ashford. I'm asking you as a human being. Just don't make it public, please." I looked at her. This was the woman who 10 minutes ago called my father a failure, who called me a hustle, who smiled while she said it. 5 minutes ago, you told a room full of people that my father walked away because he couldn't cut it. You called me a con artist in front of a notary. I kept my voice level. And now you're standing in a hallway asking me for mercy. She didn't answer. "Here's what I'll tell you. I'm not making anything public, but that's not because you asked. It's because my grandfather wouldn't have wanted that. I took a breath. He didn't leave me that envelope to punish you. He left it so I'd know where I came from. I turned away. You don't get to insult my family, I said over my shoulder, and then asked me family for a favor. That's not how this works. I walked down the stairs and out into the sunlight on Main Street. My Honda was parked at the meter. The parking ticket tucked under the wiper made me laugh. The first time I'd laughed in weeks. I drove to the bank. 2 weeks passed, then 3. The dominoes fell the way Harold said they might. Garrett did not contest the will. His attorney filed a brief appearance, reviewed the documents, and quietly withdrew. I learned later that when Hislier saw the notarized second will, the DNA certificate, and the photographs of the intercepted letters, he advised Garrett in very direct terms, "You don't have a case, and discovery will bury you." The bank launched its own inquiry. When First National reviewed the mortgage on Murray's rental property, they found what Harold already knew. The power of attorney authorization didn't match Murray's known signatures. The bank flagged the file and referred it to their fraud division. Garrett was given 90 days to repay the $380,000 or face criminal referral. Garrett and Vivan put the West Haven mansion on the market 6 weeks after the reading. It sold in 4 months. They moved to Roanoke. I heard they told people it was for a fresh start. Bradley lost his meal ticket. For the first time in 28 years, he had to apply for a job. I don't know if he found one. I didn't ask. The community in Grayfield is small enough that stories travel on foot. Within a month, people who'd known the Ashford name for decades started asking questions. A few older residents remembered Owen, the quiet carpenter who'd married a girl from the East Side and disappeared 1 year without explanation. They started to fill in the blanks that Garrett and Vivian had carefully erased. I didn't chase any of this. I didn't make a single phone call. I didn't post anything. The truth doesn't need a marketing team. It just needs one person willing to stand still when someone tries to shove them out of the room. I drove to First National Bank on a Tuesday morning. The brass key was warm in my hand by the time I reached the teller window. A clerk led me downstairs to the vault. Box 7714 was near the bottom row, small, unassuming. I slid the key in. It turned with a click that I felt in my chest. Inside, 5 things. 14 letters from Owen to Murray. I picked up the first one. The envelope was soft from age. I opened it carefully like it might crumble. Inside my father's handwriting, the same slanted print from my birthday cards, telling his father that he was about to have a daughter, that he was nomming her Piper, that he hoped Murray would come see her. He never came. He never knew. 22 letters from Murray to Owen, never sent. Murray wrote about guilt, about trusting Garrett too long, about the day he found the hidden letters and couldn't stop his hands from shaking, about watching a girl with Owen's eyes deliver pizza every Saturday and not being able to say a word. A family photo album. Several pages had been torn, photographs ripped out, probably by Garrett, but Murray had taped some of them back in carefully with Scotch tape, like a man repairing something he knew he'd broken. A property deed for 27 Elm Street and one last envelope at the very bottom, smaller, separate from the rest, written on the front in Murray's hand. Piper. I sat on the cold metal bench in that vault room for 45 minutes. I read every letter. My father's voice came through the paper, steady, hopeful, asking for nothing except to be remembered. When I came out, the clerk asked if I was all right. "Yeah," I said. "I'm just meeting my family." The house at 27 Elm Street was smaller than I expected and exactly what I needed. 2 bedrooms, a kitchen with yellow tile that probably hadn't been updated since the 80s. A front porch with a railing that needed sanding, and behind the house, a detached workshop, the wood shop where my father learned to build. The grass was knee-high. The paint was peeling. A bird had nested in the porch light. I unlocked the front door. The air inside was stale, but not dead, more like a room that had been waiting. The furniture was still there. Simple pieces, well-made, a couch with faded cushions, a bookshelf with paperbacks and a Bible. And on the mantel, a wooden picture frame, hand-carved edges, initials burned into the back. Owen Ashford. I held it up to the light. The frame was the same design as the one in my photo of Dad. He'd learned to make these here in this house with his father. I walked out to the workshop. Tools hung on pegboard, walls coated in a thin layer of dust. A handsaw, a set of chisels, a planer. On the workbench, a half-finished birdhouse like someone had stepped out for lunch and never come back. I stood there for a long time. This was where Owen became the man who raised me, where Murray taught him to measure twice, where the two of them had something before Garrett dismantled it. I decided 3 things standing in that workshop. I would move in. I would use the education trust to enroll in the woodworking program at Blue Ridge Community College, and I would finish that birdhouse. Not because Murray asked me to, because my father started it and I'm his daughter. I waited a full week before I opened Murray's letter, the one with my name on it. I wanted to be sitting somewhere that meant something when I read it, so I opened it at the kitchen table on Elm Street with the morning light coming through the yellow tiled window and a cup of coffee I'd made on the old stove. Murray's handwriting was shakier than the earlier letters. He'd written this one near the end. He told me he'd found me through a private investigator 4 years before he died. He said the moment he saw the photograph, he knew I had Owen's jaw, Owen's hands, Owen's way of standing with my weight on my left foot. He wanted to walk up to my door and introduce himself. He wanted to say, "I'm your grandfather and I'm sorry." But he was afraid. Afraid Garrett would find out. Afraid Garrett would interfere, make trouble for me, threaten me livelihood the way he'd threatened Owen's. So Murray chose the safest path he could find. Pizza delivery every Saturday. The same order, the same tip, a reason to open his front door and see his granddaughter for 2 minutes. He wrote, "The $2 never tip, Piper. They were the only thing I could hand you myself. Every Saturday I told myself this is enough. Seeing you at the door is enough." Then it wasn't. The last line was written in letters larger than the rest, as if his hand was trembling, but he needed me to read it clearly. "You have his hands, build something." I folded the letter, put it in my flannel pocket next to the brass key, and I sat at that table until the coffee went cold, letting the quiet hold me. "I'm going to talk to you directly for a minute. I didn't tell you this story so you'd feel sorry for me. And I didn't tell it so you'd hate Garrett Ashford, though I'd understand if you do. I told you because somewhere out there, someone is listening to this right now. And they believe what I used to believe. That their family doesn't want them. That they were left behind on purpose. That the silence from the people who were supposed to love them is proof that they're not worth loving. I believed that for 13 years. And then I opened an envelope from a dead man and found out the silence was manufactured. My grandfather wanted me. He couldn't reach me. And when he finally found a way, a pizza order, $2, a few seconds at his front door, he held on to it every single week for 3 years. That doesn't fix everything. It doesn't bring back the years. It doesn't undo the damage Garrett caused or the life my father could have had. But it tells me something I needed to hear. And maybe you do, too. Your absence from someone's life doesn't always mean they chose it. The boundary I learned through all of this is simple. You don't need the approval of the people who rejected you. You don't need their permission to know your own worth. You just need the truth, and then you decide what to build with it. Garrett spent 25 years controlling a story. Vivan spent 25 years decorating it. And when the truth finally walked into that conference room in sneakers and a flannel shirt, all it took was one notarized piece of paper to bring the whole thing down. The truth is patient. It waits for you at the door. 6 months later, here's where I am. I live at 27 Elm Street. The grass is cut. The porch railing is sanded and restained. I did it myself badly, but it holds. The birdie's still nesting in the porch light. I left it. I'm enrolled in the woodworking program at Blue Ridge Community College. Turns out I have a feel for it. The instructor said I work wood like someone who grew up around it. I told her I did, even if I didn't know it at the time. Rosa comes by on Saturdays. She brings pizza, pepperoni always, and we eat it on the porch. She's the closest thing I have to family that's still breathing, and she knows it without me having to say it. I hung Murray's photo in the living room, the one from the album. Murray holding Owen when he was about 5, grinning at the camera, the wood shop visible behind them on the back in Murray's handwriting. My boys. I added my own photo next to it. Me and Dad, the one with the picture frame, side by side on the same wall. The brass key hangs on a hook by the front door. It doesn't open anything anymore, but I keep it where I can see it. Every Saturday, I eat pepperoni pizza. Not because it's a habit, because that's how my grandfather found me. If you ask me who Murray Ashford was, I'll tell you. He was the man who tipped me $2 every Saturday for 3 years. It was all he could give. It was everything he had, and it was enough. It was always enough. Thank you for staying until the end. I have one question for you. If you could write a letter to someone you lost, someone who left before you had a chance to say everything, what would you say? Type it in the comments. Even one sentence, even just their name. I'll read it. And if this story hit you in a place you didn't expect, share it with someone who needs to hear it. You'll know who. There are more stories like this one in the description. People who found out the truth too late. People who stood their ground when everyone in the room said they didn't belong. I think you'll connect with them.